You ever get so excited for something? You build it up in your head, you're like, yeah, this is coming. You do the countdown, 2 more days, 1 more day. I get to wake up and I get to do this shit. And then you get met with just disappointment. Things do not go the way that you planned. Everything's turned on its head. That's how my week started. And it kind of relates to the podcast question I'm going to pose to you in about a minute or two. But I had 2 days off this week. One being today, the other one earlier in the week on Sunday. Every Sunday, One Piece drops a new chapter for you to read. And I'm all caught up, so at this point, I'm invested in the story. I'm waiting week after week for these things to drop so I can read them and get my fix. But that didn't happen. Because what was supposed to be a day of relaxation, resting my body, reading, getting comfortable, turning off my brain, and enjoying a day after hell at work, I found out there was no new One Piece dropping. Not only that, I wake up with a terrible headache, terrible back pains, and really bad dehydration that did not get fixed all damn day. Put me in a terrible mood. But today I am thriving. I woke up and honestly had way more toast than I probably should have. I had like 6 or 7 pieces of sourdough bread with peanut butter. I had like 3 cups of coffee. I sat back and I watched a great Japanese wrestling match. You know, sometimes your dream girl is not a girl at all. Sometimes your dream girl is just Toshiaki Kawada versus Mitsuharu Misawa from June 3rd, 1994, All Japan. And I enjoyed that girl. Sexy as a motherfucker. And by that, I mean really good grapples between 2 like 40-year-old sweaty Japanese men. But this week's podcast topic does not relate to that. It relates back to Sunday. What is a band that you were so excited to see live, you hyped it up in your minds, you counted down the days to finally see them, and when you saw them, they underperformed, they didn't deliver, and ultimately left you kind of sad. It's happened to all of us. And I want to hear your stories. I want to hear what bands you got to talk about. I got a couple of my own. We're going to share that shit. Today's going to be very music heavy because I was working all week. I had a bad brain fucking ADD problem. I couldn't pay attention to shit. So I didn't listen to much new music. I didn't watch any new movies. I ain't done shit. I worked, I slept, and I played Kirby on my Switch. But luckily I have enough stories and opinions on music and things to talk about to really hold this podcast all together. So while I pour myself another cup of coffee, hopefully you get something that makes you feel relaxed. You sit back, you crack open something, get some coffee, get breakfast, whatever the fuck you're doing. I don't know what time it is where you are, but let's get ready to kill some time. Let's fucking go.
What you doing, son?
Nothing. Just chilling. Killing.
True.
Take your hat off at the table, Trevor.
Let him wear his hat, Jerry.
Take the damn hat off.
That's it! Time to take you to the bottom! The rock bottom!
Oh!
Rock bottom! Oh, for God's sake!
So unlike the other weeks, I got absolutely nothing from anything other than TikTok. So thank you once again, TikTok, for coming through. Maybe I should use y'all more often, since you fuck with my questions. And as I said before, I asked, what is an artist or band that you were excited to see live? And then when you finally got there, the show was just terrible and disappointed you immensely. And I got a handful of responses. We're gonna go through them before I give you mine. KS on TikTok says, Taking Back Sunday, for sure. Only band I've ever been disappointed with live. You know what? I've heard that quite a few times. I heard that infamously, they are a terrible band to see live, but a great band to listen to. And I've listened to every one of their albums, and I love that band. But I've passed up every opportunity I've ever had to see them live because I don't want to hate it and ruin the band that I love in my eyes. Sorry you had to go through with that, homie. Sucks. What is essentially No Name Bunch of Numbers says, not specifically for them, but it was a festival. But I saw Papa Roach twice, and they were terrible both times. I mean, that kind of seems like a you thing. For expecting a shit ton of good things to come out of seeing Papa Roach live. Kind of goes hand in hand with the No Name Bunch of Numbers stuff. I feel like every bad opinion comes from a No Name Bunch of Numbers account. You did this to yourself, homeboy. Robert King says, I saw Take It back not too long before they broke up. Terrible. By far the worst show I've ever been to. Well, it seems like they knew they sucked because they broke up. Sorry you had to go through that. I'm not aware of Take It, so I don't know if they were ever good, if it was ever my cup of tea, if I would have ever seen them. But the fact that you liked them so much to see it and it just ruined your time, dude, that sucks. Shout out to everybody else in the world. They dodged a fucking bullet. They're no longer around anymore. That Rob guy says he saw 30 Seconds to Mars at their biggest, but it was still such a letdown. The only way that it would redeem me seeing 30 Seconds to Mars is at some point Jared Leto just turns into Morbius and goes, it's Morbin time. And then they just play their hit song. And that's the only thing that happens. And then I get to go home and beat traffic. And lastly, Tyson Lasley, that kind of rhymes, says, him. The guy was so wasted and could barely even sing. Oh, that sucks. I saw Viovello, the guy you're talking about, like 2 years ago in Boston. And since significantly cutting down alcohol, that show was incredible. Very intimate show, maybe only like 300, 400 people in the venue. Played the hits from him, played a lot of stuff from his newer album that came out. Was nothing but a sweetheart, told some jokes, incredible opening band. Man, I wish you could have seen that. Would have been a complete redemption. For me, this is the easiest choice because it's not even close in the grand scheme of bad shows that I've been to. Because the main part of the show was spectacular. One of the best shows I've been to. But then right before it was the drizzling shits. And I don't know if that made the main part of the show, the headliner, stand out that much more because before it was so terrible that even if they put on a mid-as-fuck show, it would have still been great in comparison. But when I went to see Coheed and Cambria during COVID, there were two openers. There was Mothica, which I knew nothing about, and it was essentially just spooky Ashley Simpson. And then the band I was excited for, Alkaline Trio. I liked Alkaline Trio ever since I was a lot younger, like when I was like 10 years old. I loved them. I fell in love with them listening to all of their shit maybe like 2 years prior to that. So I was looking for a time to go and see Alkaline Trio live. And then they replaced Dance Gavin Dance on this tour. And I was like, now's my time to shine. I'm going with my friends. They want to see Coheed. I want to see Alkaline Trio. We go, we see them, we stand through Mothica. That was fine. It is what it is. I wasn't a fan. But then I got so hyped when Alkaline Trio started playing, and the guy apparently had a bunch of edibles and dropped acid before the show, so he knew the melody of what he was supposed to be playing and singing, but the guitar was a little off, and the lyrics were almost non-existent. Like, after every song, he was like, fucking yeah, you guys like fucking that. And he's like leaning on his mic stand, and I'm like, this is terrible. This is not going to go well. And then they played the songs that I was excited for, and my heart just sank because they could not do them at all. Like, you would start hearing the guitars for Radio, and it'd be like, do 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 do, and you're like, okay, he's got that. Maybe he'll remember the lyrics to this, and we all sing along. No, it was the crowd singing along, and then also being off time because the singer didn't know the lyrics. He was sitting there like, shake it like a bite of heaven, babe. Bends and began your fucking burning. I immediately stopped singing along and just was grumpy until Coheed and Cambria started to play. It ruined my fucking night. But then I ended up singing along with Coheed and Cambria for like an hour and 15 minute long set, and I lost my voice. So, you know what? It all worked out in the end. But god damn, did Alkaline Trio suck. I think it's going to be one of those bands just like Taking Back Sunday, where I just adore them from afar and don't see them live. I just listen to their albums from the comfort of my home or in my headphones, and I don't get disappointed spending money to see them live. Never again. And honestly, everybody that went with me that night that experienced that had the same sentiment. It was just like, yeah, that might be the worst set I have ever seen on a show like this. And it sucks. It was hyped up. We hyped that shit up so much. So because I haven't listened to anything that is new this week besides that new Of Mice and Men album, I haven't seen anything from them was good in like 15 years. That was pretty fucking good. Check that out. But because I haven't listened to really anything new this week, I can't give a breakdown of new shit. What I can do, though, is plenty of album recommendations I think you should check out. These are albums from over the years that I fuck with heavy, I think are hidden gems, and I think you should check out. And me being a consumer of heavy music, this is going to be different across the board. Maybe some of these are for you, maybe not so much. Maybe they hurt your ears, maybe they make you drool. I don't fucking know. What I do know is I got a handful of gold for you to pick through. Hopefully, you find an album that you really like. First on the list is Shai Hulud's Hearts Once Nourished 1996 album. The fact that an album that sounds like this came out like 30 years ago is crazy. It's fucking nuts. This is 34 minutes long, 9 songs of just intense drumming, riff after riff, just yells and screams that seem like you're ripping out vocal cords, and just poetic as shit lyrics that mean something deep in the heart. This sounds like what all these mid-2000s metalcore thrashy bands wanted to sound like, but didn't have the skill to execute. Shai Hulud fucking does that. This band, since 1996, have been putting out nothing but bangers. I recently went through their entire discography, and I think this album is one of the best. Also, one that came out, I think, like 2013, I believe. Yeah, I think it's called, like, Reach for the Sun or something. That album is equally as good as this, and these two stand at the top of the Shai Hulud mountain. Just incredible albums. Honestly, pick either one of them. You won't be disappointed. Next up, we got Funeral Diner, 3 Sides Dead from 2003. And honestly, this isn't even an album, it's more a compilation. They got 4 songs from 1999, 4 songs from 2001, 4 songs from 2003. Essentially took their best hidden and lesser known tracks from all these years and threw them all together before they disbanded. And honestly, it's like an hour of just straight badassery. Just screeching vocals, awesome post-hardcore influenced screamo, thrashy, just chaos. And there's even parts where it just breaks down and it's a complete vibe. They got like samples thrown in there, guitars ringing out and feedbacks, just tempo changes, just everything is a complete vibe. So if you like punk rock, this is for you. If you like old school screamo, like Seisha and Hot Cross and Page 99, this is for you. If you just want to check out something different, I also urge you to just check this out. This band wasn't around for too long. They only have 2 albums out, and I think they got 2 or 3 EPs out, but still stand as one of my favorite screamo bands of all time. So check out Funeral Diner's compilation titled 3 Sides Dead.
I'll do my best.
Your best. Losers always whine about their best. Winners go home and fuck the prom queen.
The third album I have for you to go and check out are from my bros in Drive By Bukkake. This album came out in 2018 and is called Crucial Loads. It is a remake of all their best songs that people love and love to yell and they love to play, but there's also featuring various members of other local bands from the scene, and I feel like they improved every one of these songs on this album. This is going to do something to my reach on YouTube. Such classic hits like Joe Pesci's Cum Dumpster, Jackhammer Abortion, Sidewalk Insemination, Bowling with Taka Michinoku, Coke Fuck River, Cream Pie Vending Machine, Lard Guzzler, Thrash of the Champions, and Crimson Mask. If you are unfamiliar with the crew over at Drive By Bukkake, they are a thrash metal band, very influenced by professional wrestling, movies, and alcohol. They do breakdowns, they talk about gross shit, they get drunk, and they have fun. And that's all you really need in life. Just accept your vices and fucking thrive. And this is one of the funnest bands that I've ever seen live. And I've probably seen them close to between 15 and 20 times. And I've never had a bad performance from them. So if you like thrashy metal that doesn't take itself too seriously, Drive By Bukkake is the band for you. So this might end up being one of the fastest episodes of the podcast ever. I know I say this all the time, and then I still end up doing about 30 minutes, but I gotta get going and working on a couple things and rehearse and all that shit, so I need to have time for this to mix and all that jazz. That being said, I have a couple shows that I think you should head to if you are in the New England area. Shows that are badass and completely stacked, and metalheads like myself need to go to. So support the local scene and head out to one of these when the time comes. Let's get right fucking down to it. First on the block is a Black Friday toy drive metal show happening at Bad Burger in Manchester, New Hampshire, right on Elm Street. Get a burger, get some fries, grab a beer, watch some metal. It's fucking great. This show features Provenance, Deceptions, Joe Grizzly, and Arms Like Teeth. It's an all-ages show happening Friday, November 28th in Manchester, New Hampshire, and it's priced at $10 entry or a toy donation if the toy is priced $10. This next show is one that I think if you make the conscious decision not to go to it, you're fucking dumb. Because it's 2 days. You have 2 chances. Both sides of this show are incredible. We got Saturday, December 6th with Xibalba, Balmora, A Loss for Words, Downpresser, Risk, Revenge, Inclination, Bad Beat, Word for Word, Never Back Down, and more. And Sunday, December 7th, you got Haywire, Twitching Tongues, On Broken Wings, Yellow Stitches, Skinhead, Fuming Mouth, Calling of Arabia, Rude Awakening, Recollection, Fatal Realm, Sin Against Sin, and Vamachara. What are you fucking waiting for? If you hear that, you best find a way to get tickets or you best call off work. It is going down December 6th and 7th at Big Night Live in Boston. Doors are at 10:30 a.m. each day because it's packed full of hardcore bands. But the cool thing is, this is also a toy drive show. And for entry, it only costs a toy donation. Make sure you give those kids something good, because Big Night Live, 6th and 7th, they're giving you something fucking fantastic. And lastly, I have a show, December 19th, here in Nashua, New Hampshire. It is completely free. It is all ages. It is half hip-hop, half karaoke party. And the lineup, in my opinion, has a little bit of everything. We got myself, Kill Murray, along with Lil Hart, Dante the Rascal, Pens and Pencils, J Vibe, and Kava. You got your sad boy rap, you got your old school boom bap, you got your angry shit like me, and you got that energy like J Vibe. It is all there for you. It is all ages, and it is all free. So if you are interested in that show, it all goes down at The Spot at 217 Main Street, Nashua, New Hampshire, December 19th. That's all I got for this week, and apologies for it running kind of quickly and not that much shit in between point A and point B, but I gotta get going. And with the holiday season approaching and me working in retail, this was the only day it could get done. So thank you for listening, and have a great night.